idea that I would record a concept album was a bit of a weird one in the first place, since I'm not a very organised person, and I don't have a concept that goes through my life or anything, so it was a bit counterintuitive on that part. But where it originated from was that when I listen to music, I normally listen to entire albums. I very rarely listen to like single songs or mixed CDs or anything. I pick an album according to the mood I'm in, and I listen it right through. So I wanted to write something that would be worth doing exactly that for someone else, potentially listen to my music. So I wanted to give it something more. I wanted to be like one piece of art and not just like a random collection of songs that I happen to write, So I came up with this concept of the ellipse, which I tried to incorporate into the lyrics, the arrangements, and the sound design of the whole thing. So that's kind of.
Get from wave, inside I'm churning, trying to hold it in now.
The ellipse in general, for me, would kind of represent some loops within someone's life, like mistakes you do over and over again, or relationships that tend to evolve similarly every time around, just with different people. So, those loops wouldn't be circles, really, since life is not a uniform thing. They would be more kind of stretched, so that's why they'd be kind of ellipses. And I tried to incorporate that into the lyrics, so I would get some kind of timeline going, since, the loop is kind of, you'd be a bit younger and a bit more wiser in the end of such a loop, hopefully. So I started with some, like, very infantile, kind of naive kind of writing, and throughout the album I would evolve that into something like more mature and a little bit older as well. Kind of Balloon being the first song, which is really like a kid playing with a balloon and being stunned by this thing and not really know what to do with it. And the last song, which is Repeat All, which is kind of the indication to that loop that's kind of closing down, a bit kind of some thinking back throughout his life. And we split the album in two halves, so we'd have some kind of past related songs and some more like kind of future related songs, so kind of reflection, with kind of mirror, you reflect what's behind you. And Horizon would be kind of more like an outlook for the future. So that too I try to put into the lyrics. And a third thing that I wanted to evolve throughout the album was kind of the idea that the ellipse is kind of two lines really that open up and close back down in the end again. So from a lyric part of view, I would do that with kind of seeing those two lines kind of being two part of one person, one being kind of the executing part, and the other one being kind of the voice in the back of your head, kind of which tells you what to do and what not to do, what's right, what's wrong, this kind of thing. I tried to evolve that throughout the album a little bit. So the biggest discrepancy between the two would be kind of in the middle, where they totally lose each other and then kind of they come back together in the end.
Waiting for something more, always does everything. Tonight there has to be more to this life for me. Could it be everything we live for? Don't you let us rest before it's right, even if it's so never been. I'm afraid.
The sound design and the arrangement and the feel of the songs, what we tried to do was to concentrate mainly on the concept of those two lines, you know, kind of opening up and then closing back down in the end. So part one, we tried to work with some rooms. So we'd go from small and, you know, narrow sound to very wide and kind of, you know, big space in the end. So how we did it is we recorded the first two in quite a small room in my own little studio, you know, which gives it that kind of nice living room kind of feel that they have, and you know, kind of being this kind of narrow sound. And the second two we recorded them at Heart Studios, so they have like a big recording room, so the sound will be much more open, much more wide than before. And the third two, you know, being track 5 and track 6, we recorded them in a theatre, an empty theatre, which, you know, give this really massive wide sound with a lot of reverb. It was like, that's just a room sound, there's no like plugins working there or something, that's really just like the room that made them really that massive. So I think the concept worked out pretty well for the first half.
Sail out to the other mess. Sail out till you reach your rim. Sail out to the other mess. Sail out until you reach your rim.
In part 2 Horizon, we didn't want to repeat the concept of the kind of big room to the small room all over again, so we tried to turn it around and go from like 3-dimensionally deep to kind of narrow, or you know, shallow in some sense in the end of the album. So the way we achieved that was, like, the first two songs on Horizon would have a lot of lines going on, you know, there would be a lot of instruments, different instruments in there, spaced in different distances from your ear really. And then the last song, which, you know, will be kind of on one line kind of thing, is just like acoustic trio. There's just the three of us playing on there, and no additional instruments or kind of lines put on top of that. So, you know, you'd have that very direct kind of acoustic trio.
Could it all be the same? It was all so exciting for us already from within. Yes, a man should stand his ground. I did not know.
Yeah, I mean, working with Joel is great. I mean, he's a wonderful person. You know, that alone is kind of worth recording an album with him. And you know, we've been friends for quite a while now, and we share like a similar view to how music should be done. So we'd be talking hours about that when walking through the woods together. So on top of that, he's just a great bass player. You know, he's one of the best I've ever met, really, and I was really honoured that he would play on my album. So he influenced my music and those songs in a significant way, and he's got his own character when playing bass, and it was really nice that we could incorporate that into those songs. That was very interesting. And you know, he wrote some of my favourite bass lines of all time on this album, which was, you know, a great honour too. So it was good fun. He's a great drummer, and he's a lovely person too. He's very nice, and it's nice to spend time with him. And his drumming is really just incredible. You know, he really knows what he's doing with his drum kit. So it was very cool, very creative as well, to work with him, since he's very fresh in his kind of approach to music in some way. He always wants to do it the best he could potentially do it, and is always eager, to get the best result, being like in rehearsals or in the recording. So we had a lot of good creative moments together, and we definitely got some really cool things going. So it was Jonas he's awesome. I got a lot of respect for him, like as a guitar player. He's just one of the greats, on this instrument, and so it was a great honor to have him on this album. And we only had like 2 days really to record together. But he works just so fast. He really got my ideas and really got where I wanted to go with those tracks really quickly, and and he pulled off some awesome playing on there. So it was really good fun. Yeah. He's a pearl. He's a pearl of a person, and he's so wonderful, and he's got this calmness about him, which would create a very relaxed atmosphere whenever working with him. So doing that is very easy to work with him in that perspective, and he's very good at what he does. He's very quick, and he's really creative. He really checks out what he wants, how he wants the things to sound. So, and since like a big part of the concept of this album was based on sound design, that was very important, and we had some wonderful moments kind of checking out the ideas for this concept, and he really made it a great sounding album. What he did is just great, and I think thanks to him, he's an album that can kind of compete with what's out there. So yeah.
Don't you dare now, would you stay a little longer?